Hello everyone, I hope you're all well. Today I just wanted to do a bit of a catch-up video and an update and also explain my absence, which I don't normally do because I do tend to disappear for a good couple of months every now and again. I always feel like with YouTube that I will never stop making videos altogether. I will just have prolonged absences whenever life gets busy, and my excuse for not making videos recently I feel like is a very good one. So I would love everyone to meet Branwell. This is our new little kitten, a little boy kitten. He is currently 3 months old and he's settling in. The main reason I haven't really been making videos is because this is where I tend to film. This is also where I work, and it has been, frankly, a little bit impossible with this little guy, and also with work as well. I thought we'd just have a bit of a check-in. I do have some bookish updates for everyone, but this has mainly been what I've been doing. We got Branwell at like the perfect time just before Halloween, the perfect time to adopt a black cat, obviously, but we've named him Branwell, of course, after Branwell Bronte. We really wanted a Yorkshire name, and I feel like there are some parts of his personality that just feel very Branwell Bronte, but also Branwell, when we were looking into like the actual name itself, I'm going to have to move my thumb before it gets literally bitten off. When we were looking into the name, it kind of had links to kind of either the word broom with Bram, or it was linked to kind of like Ravenswell with Bran coming, a word linked to dark or raven or something, and obviously he's a black cat, so it felt it was kind of perfect to have those connotations. Oh, my lipstick is going to be all over his tail. So I haven't been making any videos while he has still been in this room, completely separate from the cats. This is where he sleeps, this is where he eats, it's very much his safe space, but I really needed to be able to have him with the other cats for only just a few hours so I can actually film, and finally today that has been the day that this has been able to happen. But I haven't actually filmed a video, I think, since before I went to the Austen Festival, and I still haven't filmed the video that I wanted to make about that because I bought some lovely things in Bath and had a wonderful time at the Austen Festival, and so I feel like I will definitely film that one. But also I wanted to update with work as well, because I don't really talk about work on my channel ever, and that is the main reason I've been so busy and away, alongside having an agent of chaos in my office. I recently have kind of taken on, I guess, some new responsibilities at work. So for those of you who don't know, I am head of marketing at an independent publishing company called Boldwood Books, and my lovely manager recently went on maternity leave, and because of that I am now the only, I guess, the head of the marketing department, I guess. But I've just taken on some new responsibilities and my role has shifted slightly, and that has just been quite demanding, and I feel like whenever other things are demanding in life, videos always, in fact reading is one of the first things that kind of stops for me while I kind of prioritise other things. You want to go? I know. Go on, let's take you outside. You can go and harass your siblings. In other news, the day that I'm filming this video is the 1st December, and Ben and I treat ourselves to the Bird and Blend tea advent calendar, so I'm really excited. So we have one in a mug which is gingerbread chai, a spoiler for anyone else who has this advent calendar. But what I really like about it is that it has 2 tea bags, so Ben and I can actually do it together, because we love going to Bird and Blend. But I know that many of you have seen my love of Bird and Blend and seen my love of tea on this channel, and so I had to share my advent calendar with you, and so I don't normally do advent calendars, so I'm excited to have a tea one. And of course that means that my Christmas mugs are out, and we have gingerbread chai, which has always been kind of one of my go-tos with Ben at Christmas anyway. So if you haven't already, please grab a warm mug of something and join me in this video, and obviously if you have a Christmas mug, that makes it even better. On a Christmas note, for some reason I'm really feeling the festive spirit this year, and I've been really excited for Christmas, which I don't normally feel like, and I think it must be being back in York, because being back where we still live in London, it felt kind of commercially Christmas, you know, like all the shops would be ready for Christmas, but there's something so inherently festive about York, with all the lights and just everything looks so beautiful, and with the Christmas market, just the smell of York around this time of year is just so beautiful. So I've been really like counting the days to the start of December, and I really hope this year would be our first year to get a Christmas tree, because we've never had one together, partly because of the cats, and I don't know if they will be completely together, the cats, by later on in December. I'm not 100% sure. But I would love to get one. We'd probably have to do a fake tree because I know that Sybil would definitely ingest it. And it would probably need to go in this room so we can shut the door again so Sybil doesn't ingest things. But I don't know how the cats are going to go. The fact that they can be in a room together and no blood is drawn, no fights occur is brilliant. And we haven't had that yet, but it's not been as smooth as it, well, the process for Sybil and Freya took. So we got Freya on Thanksgiving and they were together by like the beginning to mid-January. So we're a month into this process, so I'm imagining like a 2-month kind of process anyway. So it might be that we get them together for Christmas, which would be a lovely thing. But I don't know if we'll have them together enough so I can have a room with a Christmas tree in it. So if I get a fake Christmas tree, it might be a January sale thing for me. But I'll keep you up to date with the cats and also my Christmas tree hunting. My Christmas mug is like the perfect example of me getting into Christmas this year because I basically bought a Christmas dinner set from Spode, and I've never needed a Christmas dinner set before. I've been wanting to speak to Ben about traditions, like what traditions are we gonna, now we're like in a home and the place that we're going to be living for a really long time, and in York in itself. I really want to get traditions that we start doing every year, and I love traditions. So I'd love if any of you have any traditions. In fact, that'd be a lovely thing that we can do in the comments. If any of you have any winter traditions, it doesn't obviously have to be Christmas, that you look forward to or that you kind of do every year. I guess I've always had a thing with like seasonal smells, like you know how much I love my candles and my wax melts. I've already transitioned to all my Christmas scents because it makes the house then smell like Christmas. Even if you don't have a Christmas tree, you can still have the smell of like pine and firs and things. But I would love to know what your Christmas traditions are, and I might steal a few. And obviously I know that I've shared my decorations that I've been collecting for a long time, my St. Nicholas decorations, and I'll definitely do a haul of those. I hoped I would be doing a haul with a Christmas tree, but we'll just have to see. Maybe that is a thing to wait for next year. But I would love to know what some of your traditions are and things you're looking forward to in this winter season. A few things that I've got coming up are mainly at the cinema, so I'm taking my mum to see a screening of the Cinderella Ballet, which is one of her favourites. And I think we have seen together in Birmingham when I was younger. And I'm also taking my mother-in-law and Ben to see the Muppet Christmas Carol, because for some reason Ben had a childhood sans Muppets. Like, I cannot tell you how much I love the Muppets Christmas Carol. It's one of my all-time favourite films and it brings me so much joy. It's always been one of my annual traditions as a kid and as an adult, like how White Christmas for me is something that I have to watch at the beginning of Christmas every year. And I just can't believe that she has never seen the Muppets Christmas Carol. We also have a trip to Castle Howard planned, which is a really beautiful stately home in North Yorkshire, not that far from York at all, and they do these amazing Christmas displays. And we went there 8 years ago, I remember, after my graduation. We went there with Ben's brother and my sister-in-law, and it was kind of a nice thing we did as a family together, so I'm hoping that we will do something similar again together at Castle Howard. And I'm in general just already looking forward to having a few days of annual leave and a few days where I can just, forget about things for a little bit. It's been quite an intensive few months. That would be, I think, an underestimate of my time. And so I guess in some ways you always kind of escape into different things, and this year has been escaping into Christmas and winter. But now let's talk about books, because I'm aware that is what everyone is really here for. I don't have a huge bookish update. I don't have a huge haul of books that I've read necessarily, because again, when things are stressed and when you are looking after a new kitten and trying to keep them alive, when kittens really seem like they want to try to die at every turn, reading has slightly fallen down the wayside. I have read some really good books that I enjoyed, like I read The Peep Show by Kate Summersgill, which is about the murders at 10 Millington Place. I read Rivals by Judy Cooper, which was a riot, so it's been a bit of a mix. The book I'm currently reading is a little bit of a collective sigh of relief. It's one of those books that I've been talking about reading forever, a bit like Bleak House. I've still never got around to it, but it is The Mirror and the Light by Hilary Mantel. This has been on I bought it when I was still working at HarperCollins and there was loads of press things going on in the office, and I never read it then, and I've been waiting for the TV adaptation to motivate me not motivate me, because I know this is going to be one of my favourite books of all time. I know it will be. And I love this series so much, and I love Hilary Mantel's writing, I love Thomas Cromwell, I love everything about it. So I guess there was just a stress of it being over and it being the final book, and that there would never be, you know, unfortunately it turns out there will never be more books by Hilary Mantel. And so it just became a big thing for me, and when the TV series was announced that it was actually coming out, I felt like it came without warning. I had in my head said that it would be out maybe over Christmas or New Year because it was going to be a big release, so I was surprised when it came out in November, and I then suddenly realised I had a really huge book to read before I could actually enjoy the TV series. I decided to kind of read in tandem with the TV series, so I'm basically caught up now with where the show is, and I'm now going to try and read ahead and not watch anymore so I can really visualise everything in my head and then go to the TV show so I don't have kind of the visions of the show in my mind when I'm reading. I kind of sometimes like them to be quite separate. So far it is a really faithful adaptation to the book, and I am loving reading the book. I feel like I can definitely sense Cromwell's anxiety of having risen so high, and he knows the only way is down, and I just keep feeling that throughout the book as well. I think everybody else kind of knows it, and I'm also really intrigued by Hilary Mantel's portrayal of Jane Seymour as well, which I'm finding to be a really interesting one for me. So I feel like I'll probably have lots of thoughts once I finish, which I will definitely share with you, but I wanted to let you know that I finally started reading it because this has been a big thing for me. Now we're into winter, I'm transitioning into Christie for Christmas and picking an Agatha Christie, and I know that this Christmas I really want to read The Murder on the Orient Express, which I feel like is always on the TV around Christmas anyway, but it's one of those kind of Agatha Christie that I've always wanted to read, but I just wanted to wait until winter, even though I'm not really sure how wintry, if at all, this book is, but it just feels wintry to me, and obviously the cover kind of shows that as well. But I love kind of the locked room kind of Poirot stories, and so I'm really excited for this one. I actually have 2 books on my Christie list this Christmas. The next one is ABC Murders, and this I actually picked up as a recommendation from Katie at Books and Things when I went to her booktube meetup that happened in York, which was lovely, and we went to Criminally Good Books, which is the crime bookshop in York that I love, and she recommended this as one that she'd really loved and enjoyed, so of course I had to get it, and I got it in my nice hardback as well, because one thing I feel like with Agatha Christie, whenever an Agatha Christie novel is known to be really good and people love, I just adore it, and so I'm happy to add to a proper like hardback collection, but I feel like when Katie recommends something, you know it's going to be good and therefore it is worth the investment. I thought I would just slip in this mention because it is the other book that I bought on that booktube meetup, and I completely failed to film any footage I think on that day, but I did buy another book, which was The Unruly Queen by Flora Fraser, which is about Queen Caroline, and I recently have spoken about how I've been looking to find a paperback book of this, because I'm fascinated by Queen Caroline and the Prince Regent, and so I have been looking for it, and I have this thing where I have a list of books on my phone at all times of books that I'm looking for in secondhand bookshops, and York so far has not failed me, and I picked this up in Oxfam Books on, I think it was the one on Micklegate, one of my favourites, and so I just thought I would let you know because I think I've mentioned looking for this book quite a few times, and finally it is here. Another great charity bookshop find for me was this copy of Twilight. I have always been a big Twilight kind of person since I was a young child, teenager. It's my guilty pleasure. I love it, and I really like the first Twilight film, and in fact recently Ben and I went to see Twilight in concert, which was a brilliant evening out. It was really lovely and really fun. This was the exact edition of Twilight that I remember loving and obsessing over, and I just like to collect things that have like sentimental value to it, and you would think there would be a million copies of Twilight in the trash shops, but I fear they may have been pulped because I haven't been buying them quick enough. So I am on the lookout for pretty much all of the movie tie-in editions. That would be my personal dream, and I don't know why I didn't keep mine. And I didn't keep mine, probably like no one else kept theirs, and then the trash shops were full of them and they had to go. Twilight has always been my sentimental favourite, and at the end of the day, I'm just giving to charity. I'm just very, very charitable. back to two books I'm planning to read either this winter or just at some point next year. The first one is, in fact, I'll start with the other Bennet sister. This is the book by Janice Hadlow. Janice Hadlow's non-fiction book, The Strangest Family, was one of my favourite reads, I think, of last year. I loved it so much. And so I keep saying how I need to read this one. I haven't got round to it, but there is going to be an adaptation of this. And so that already kind of puts it at the top of my list. And so this is one that I will read when that is announced, and I will try and pair it up a little bit better, so I read it ahead of the adaptation rather than while it's on, like I'm currently doing The Mirror and the Light. I'm in the exact same situation with Miss Austen by Gill Hornby. Again, it's been on my list forever. I was going to read this at the Jane Austen Festival weekend and instead read Mansfield Park, which was wonderful, but there is an adaptation coming next year. I, again, thought it would be over Christmas. It's not. So I might try and read it while I have a few days of annual leave, because I always kind of want to go back to Jane Austen at the beginning of the year for some reason. I'm very much aware most of these books I will read in January or in early 2025, but by how often I'm filming videos at the moment, the next time I see you could be January. I'll try not to make it January, but you never know, so I like to keep you up to date with my thoughts and my feelings. Before I sat down to film this video as an update, I genuinely felt like I had loads of things to talk to you about, to update you about, and as soon as I actually sit down in my chair and turn the camera on, all of my hopes and dreams die. Every thought I ever had just escapes me. Some of the things that were on my list to update you with, like work, like having a slight shift in my role and more responsibilities, the things that are so time consuming in my own space in my head, when you actually talk about them, the update is over in seconds, and it never feels like you're really relaying the impact of those things, because it takes 2 seconds to say that I've had a change in job, I guess. But I also don't really talk about work that much, partly because there are authors that I know who follow me, and also I guess there has to be some separation. I think when you are working in publishing and you work with books, to then have an account which largely focuses on books, there has to be some separation there, I think, to make everything nice and to keep it something that's fun. And the thing is, this channel for me will never be work. I never want to do anything where this becomes a paid part. I couldn't anyway, but it's nice to have something that just is a community that I pop in and out of, and I'm very grateful that there are lots of you still here after years. You know, I've been making videos for 12 years. I'm never going to stop, and in fact I had a few messages asking people if I'd left YouTube, which has never happened before, even though I have taken way longer breaks before. And I always hate talking about them like breaks, because it's just, the videos are just slightly more spaced out. You can hold space for my videos in the meantime while they're not here. But yeah, I'm really grateful that there are so many of you that have stayed with me from me being a teenager, a little child in some cases, in my childhood bedroom, and now in my little office library room in my house. And so thank you for sticking around, and please let me know what you're up to, because this is very much a filler video. If I'm honest, this is a video to get me back into filming and to sit down in a chair and talk. So I hope you're well, and thank you for listening to me, and please let me know what your Christmas traditions are, what you're currently reading, what your hopes and dreams are for the future, and I'll see you again very soon, hopefully in another video. Bye! No! You can't have it. You can't have it.